Welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. This is where we embrace how good you are, girl. Stop being the best kept secret in town. Learn how to use simple LinkedIn and social media strategies and make the big bucks.
Hey there. Hey guys, I'm Karen Yankovich, and this is the Good Girls Get Rich podcast recap for episode 99. 99. Can you freaking believe that we're coming up on episode 100 of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast? It's blown my mind. You're going to love, well, I loved episode 100. I hope you love it too. We're really excited. I'm really excited that we've gotten this far, and I'm really grateful to you that are listening to this for supporting this podcast every step of the way. So I'm going to try to be more consistent with these recaps. So I'm here to do that. So this week on the podcast, we had Megan Tull, and Megan is the author of the Passion Belief Method book, The Passion Belief Method. And I'm going to be looking a little bit all over the place because I've got my notes on the podcast over here. So you may see me looking in that direction a little bit, but it's not that I'm not paying attention. So Megan and I met a few years ago. I was a speaker at the Texas Conference for Women, and somebody that saw my talk at the conference. So Megan was the president at the time of Texas Women in Business, and they connected us, and I flew to Texas to do a lunch and learn for Texas Women in Business. They have monthly lunches, which was about like 5 years ago now. It seems crazy that it was that long ago. But I remember really connecting with Megan, and at the time she was just launching her book. And we stayed connected, but not really in each other's life or business a whole lot. But lately I've been seeing her doing a whole lot more public visibly. I don't know if she's up to her social media game, or maybe it's just the universe that put her posts in front of me, because Lord knows it's not the algorithms, because we never know how to make those work, right? So I'm actually going to try and pull this up over here too, so I can see what's happening on. If I can see, I think if you have any comments on Facebook, I can see them, but I'm going to see if I can also see your comments on LinkedIn. So just give me a second to get organized here. So Megan, so I've started to see more of her posts lately, and I realized how in line they were with a lot of the work that I was doing with this podcast. So here we go. Cool. So I realized it was a lot of work, a lot of things around the work that I was doing with the podcast. So I asked her if she'd come on the show, and she did come on the show. Oh, look at all these things. Hey, Bryn. Hey, Connie, Gisela, Doug. Awesome to be here. Okay. So I really got a chance to dive in to say hello so we know you're real. Hello. I'm real. I guess that's Joe on Twitter. I'm real, Joe. So I'm trying to broadcast this to multiple places. So you guys just bear with me a little bit. I don't want to waste your time with a lot of babbling, but it's, I'm experimenting. How's that? I'm experimenting with doing these recaps here. So Megan Tull, I will tag her in across all of these platforms, so you guys can get to know a little bit more about her. And what I loved about Megan, and what happened was we knew each other professionally, but not really personally. And I learned a lot about her story as I was interviewing her as well. So Megan was a widow at age 30 with a 2-year-old son, and with a corporate job that was giving her, some decent income, and ended up quitting that job when she found herself a widow. Which, talk about bravery, right? Talk about having to be brave. She found herself as a widow at age 30 with a 2-year-old, and having to recreate her life. And what she realized was she wanted to be home more with her son, right? And she's very, very open about the fact that she was left with a lot of bills. So I don't know really what kind of financial cushion she had, but she spent, she quit her corporate job, and for the first 6 months of this new life of hers, she made $0 in her business. And the reason that that's important is because of her confidence in herself. Like, I don't know if I would have had that kind of confidence in myself. Let's get clear. And I teach confidence, right? But I don't think I would have had that kind of confidence in myself to really continue forward, knowing that there was no money coming in and I had to support a 2-year-old, right? But she was determined. And she talks about how in the next 6 months, she really blew up her business. And where this is important and where I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about this was that what started happening to her, and this happens everywhere, and I want you to comment and let me know if this has happened to you, okay? People started coming to her and asking for her help. And think about this. Megan and I had a whole conversation about this on the podcast, and I'd love for you to listen to the whole episode. It's KarenYankovich.com/099. We had a whole conversation about how often when people say, oh my gosh, you're really good at this, can you help me? We don't realize these are marketable skills. Okay. We are like, and I use the example of, I'm always asking I love to cook. I love to cook. I'm a really good cook, but I am busy and I don't have a lot of time and I live by myself. So I find myself doing DoorDash a lot. And I found a great new Mediterranean place that delivered to me yesterday. And I am routinely saying to my friends, I'd love for you guys, who wants to cook for me? I'll pay you. And a few years ago, this was going on with one of my friends who, definitely could have used a little bit of extra money. And I'm like, I will pay you to cook for me. And she's like, that's ridiculous. You can cook for yourself. Right. But what Megan did when people started coming to her and saying, can you help me? Instead of saying, that's ridiculous, this is easy, she recognized that that's a skill that not everybody has. Right. Or even if you have that skill, it doesn't mean you want to do it. So she created this into this marketable business for herself. Okay. So she took what people were asking her to do and were willing to pay her to do it and created a business from that. And that is at the heart of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast, right? I want you to do what you're good at and build your business and your life from that place, because when you're doing that, that's where the abundance comes into your life, right? And this isn't woo-woo Karen saying this. This is just reality. When you're doing what you love to do, when you're doing what you're talking about, things that you could talk about, whether or not people are paying you to do that, that's where I want you to be building your business from. And that's what I want you to be claiming on your LinkedIn profile, right? I want on your LinkedIn profile for you to be going, I am so good at this, right? Because if you don't tell people how good you are, how are they going to know, right? So I love that she created a whole business around what she's good at and then started to market it and put that out to the world. She talks about that coming from flow and abundance, and now she helps women find what their passions are and create profit around that. So she dives deep into that. We dive deep into that on the podcast. One of the other things that we talk a lot about in this episode is how when we start our businesses like that, right, we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people. Okay. Now, I get that. We all see how people are doing what it is that we are doing and we love to do. And we think we have to do it that way. And you can make money that way. You can definitely profit by modeling people that have been successful in doing what you've done before. I know I do that in many ways, but if you don't add your own flavor to it, then it's going to it's never going to have you're never going to achieve the kinds of things you want to achieve. Right. So it will get exhausting and it's probably not sustainable. Right. So you all know I teach LinkedIn marketing, and Bryn, I don't know if you're still listening, but Bryn Tillman is listening. It was on here earlier, and she teaches LinkedIn marketing also. I've talked to her. I know we have similar ideas on how LinkedIn marketing should happen, but I also know we have very different markets and very different ways of marketing it. And if I decided I needed to do everything Bryn did, or I need to do everything every other LinkedIn marketing person does, I would not currently be focusing my new LinkedIn course on LinkedIn for women, right? Because that is now the focus that I've been putting on LinkedIn. Not that I think that not that I can't help men. I don't really care what your body parts are. I don't care how you identify. But what I've found over the years, and especially from doing this podcast, that women don't feel as included on LinkedIn as I think they should feel. So I've kind of stepped into that place and say, I want to support women and finding their place and their people on LinkedIn, one person at a time, not 100 people a week, 5 people a week, right? So there's a lot of people that teach things that are also correct, but very different than what I teach. But if I felt like I had to do what everybody else does, then I'm trying to be who they are, and I'm not who they are. I'm who I am. And I will tell you, we just did the LinkedIn profile challenge that we just did, and you can still get in on the wait list for the next round, which is going to be in January at linkedinprofilechallenge.com. What we did was, and I was like, can I really do this? And I'm like, I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. This is what I love to do, and I'm doing it. What we did was we had a tactical piece in the morning. It was a 5-day challenge, so that we did a tactical profile piece in the morning, what you should do on your profile, how what you think, the things you want, the keywords you want to have on your headlines, people who you are, who you help, how you help them, right? But then we came back in the afternoon and infused a mindset piece. So who is it that you like? The message that I've been really talking a lot about lately is your resume is who you used to be, but positioned properly, your LinkedIn profile should be about the person you are now and that you want to become, right? Dress for the job you want. So I don't want you to make things up, but I want you to really own the person that you're becoming. So we incorporated a mindset piece in the afternoon, and we sent out a second video. We did a second live video every afternoon with the mindset piece. Now, if I was following all of the left brain LinkedIn profile trainers and comparing myself to them, I never would have done that. And I am telling you, we had such an amazing, successful profile challenge. So I love that Megan and I got a chance to talk about how, just because you're doing something that everybody else is doing doesn't mean you have to do it the way that everybody else does these things, right? When you do it the way you do it, then that's where people can really connect with you, really see your passion, and really step in, and really, really know who you are. Because let's get real. I am sure there's times that I've been up against I know there's times I've been up against other LinkedIn experts for business. And sometimes I get it and sometimes they get it. And that's okay, because I want to work with the exact right people for me. And I also talk on the profile, I also talk on this episode about how I've started to incorporate a strategy fee into the corporate work that I'm doing. And what I do is I tell them, listen, if we decide we're going to work this, I'm going to come out, we're going to develop we're going to talk about what a strategy for you would look like. And here's what it costs to do that. And then if we decide that we want to continue to work together, I will apply that fee towards the fee for implementing the strategy with you. And the reason I do this is twofold. One, it's a lot easier for me to sell that than it is to sell a 6-month package, right? But two, I get to decide if I want to work with them. Okay? Because I know that I'm not the right person for everybody out there. And I know that the more I stay in my lane, the more the right people come to me. So comparisonitis, right? Like, get rid of that. And Megan and I dove deep into that. And then, the next thing Megan talked about is taking action. I mean, she had a 2-year-old. She was a widow with a 2-year-old. She needed to take action, right? So, we talked about the saying, you don't need to get it done, you just need to get it going. What can you do to bring in money today, and then build your website and, do more research on who your ideal client is and your pricing and all these other things. So and I'm going to tag Megan. I'll tag you in here. So hopefully if you have any questions for Megan, she can come in and answer your questions here. She wasn't available. I last minute decided to do this, so Megan wasn't available to join me, but I am going to try to have the guests that are on my show with me on these recaps moving forward wherever I can. So, and by the way, Brenda, I see your thing. We're using StreamYard to broadcast this. So I'm using StreamYard. So I'm able to broadcast this to LinkedIn, Periscope / Twitter, and my Facebook page all at the same time, which is pretty cool, right? All right. So Megan then we go through the passion belief method that she's created, and that she's got this in her book, and all of this, I will put a link below this video to the show notes, where we've got links to all of this stuff, her book, and all of the places you can get to know Megan. But she's got a signature process that she takes people through so that you can understand your passion belief method. And she has a passion belief assessment that you can take. It's completely free, right? You can take this passion belief assessment and, find out what your unique, passion, I forget what she calls it, but she creates like a personality maybe, that you can then take. And then, it's not about criticism of where you need help, but knowing where you need help is the first step to actually being able to implement it. I tell people all the time, like, I have somebody I'm working with right now on some SEO on my website, and she's like rolling her eyes back. I'm like, don't be afraid to tell me what sucks, because this is my business, right? Like, I want to fix it. I'm here to talk to you to fix it. So taking those same assessments around your building your business and understanding where your strengths are, but also where your weaknesses are, so that you can, support those. I think is a big part of the work that Megan does. So I was so grateful to have Megan on the show. It really was one of my favorite shows. It was great to have a chance to catch up with her again. I hope that you listen to the whole show. You just listen to 15 minutes of me talking here, but I hope you listen to the whole show, because we dove deep into lots of Megan. You're not listening to me yap as much. You're getting to hear Megan bring her unique perspective to this. And remember, you can listen to it at KarenYankovich.com/099. And next week, episode 100 drops on Monday. And it is an interesting one, because it's me really stepping more into my passion, right? Staying in my LinkedIn wheelhouse, but really claiming my little space of the LinkedIn trainer universe, even in an even deeper way. So I can't wait to tell you. I can't wait for you to hear all about it. All right. You guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. So I'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll recap episode 100.